So it turns out that the FBI unit that is leading the charge on Trump's Mar-a-Lago probe, they were also the same same group of FBI effers who ran the Trump-Russia discredited Russia investigation. You think I'm kidding? The FBI division overseeing the investigation is also a focus. So these guys, the guys who are going after Trump, the FBI guys who are going after Trump at Mar-a-Lago, they're also a focus of John Durham's. He's the special counsel appointed to look into Russiagate. They're a focus of his investigation of the Bureau's alleged abuses of power and political bias during its years-long investigation probe of Trump. So this guy is looking at the current FBI guys who are going into Trump's house. This guy is investigating them. The guys who are investigating Trump, they're being investigated currently right now. So do you think that those people should be allowed to go invade a former president's house on a fishing expedition over classified material? If they're also under investigation, I would say that would raise some eyebrows. The FBI's 9-hour, 30-agent raid of the former president's Florida estate is part of a counterintelligence case run out of Washington, not Miami, as has been widely reported. So it was like, oh, no, this is a local FBI operation and a local judge. Well, according to this article in Real Clear, no, it's being run out of Washington, D.C., which is 100% easy to believe. And that's according to FBI case documents and sources with knowledge on the matter. The Bureau's Counterintelligence Division led the 2016-27. If you think that a low-level FBI office in Florida and a random judge would be allowed to raid a former president's residence without getting it cleared from the higher ups, then you probably think the president isn't demented.
Not just a random judge either. Epstein-connected judge.
An Epstein-connected judge. That the FBI got an Epstein-connected judge to okay this warrant. And you're telling me that they didn't have to get the okay from the FBI, the head of the FBI? They did. The Bureau's Counterintelligence Division led the 2016-2017 Russia collusion investigation of Trump, codenamed Crossfire Hurricane. So this same group of people did this bullshit investigation that are now doing this. And now we know that they admitted to themselves in text messages, the FBI, that their job was to stop Trump from being president. They've admitted to it. That has been that's been read in an open court in a hearing in front of the Congress. Although the former head of the Crossfire Hurricane, this guy, he was the head of it, and he tweeted out, "We're going to stop Trump." He's the head of the FBI group, and now that same group is investigating Trump again, as they're being investigated for their nefarious shit. He was fired so the guy who was the head of that investigation into Trump's Russian collusion, he got fired after disclosures of his vitriolic anti-Trump tweets. That's when he said, we're going to stop Trump from being president. Several members of his team remain working in the counterintelligence unit, though. The sources say even though they are under active investigation by both Durham and the Bureau's disciplinary arm, the Office of Professional Responsibility. So they're not being investigated just by this guy. They're also being investigated by the FBI is investigating their own people. In addition, and those same people who are being investigated are being allowed to raid a former president's house. In addition, a key member of the Crossfire team, supervisory intelligence analyst Brian Auten, has continued to be involved in politically sensitive investigations, including the ongoing federal probe of potentially incriminating content found on the abandoned laptop of President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. And that's according to recent correspondence between the Senate Judiciary Committee, FBI Director Christopher Wray. So what they're saying is that this guy, a key member of that bullshit team that did all that bullshit around Russiagate, is why is he being allowed to not only work on Trump's thing, but he's working on Hunter Biden's laptop?
Why is he allowed to work at all? If you have whistleblowers that are exposing these people within the FBI and they're speaking out against this Operation Crossfire team, why are they still there?
That's a great question. FBI whistleblowers have alleged that Auten tried to falsely discredit derogatory evidence against Hunter Biden during the 2020 campaign by labeling it Russian disinformation as assessment that caused investigative activity to cease. So this guy's a complete 100% political actor, this guy Auten. Why is he still at the FBI? Because the FBI is a corrupt organization. That's why. Auten has been allowed to work on sensitive cases, even though he has been under internal investigation since 2019, when Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz referred him for disciplinary review for his role in vetting a Hillary Clinton campaign-funded dossier used by the FBI to obtain a series of wiretap warrants.
Come on.
So he's already supposed to be, he already did nefarious shit around the dossier. And this guy still isn't fired. And this guy's still allowed to work on Trump's investigation. Horowitz singled out Auten for cutting a number of corners in the verification process and even allowing information he knew to be incorrect to go into warrants and affidavits and mislead the FISA court. So this is the guy who misled the FISA court so they could get a wiretap on Donald Trump and all of his campaign. That's the guy. And that guy is now still investigating Trump?
And
yes.
Changing the story day by day. You know, you had Peter Strzok that was fired, but you have his subordinates from the Crossfire team that are still documents that they raided Trump's house. And then they said it was about the nuclear documents, nuclear code documents. Then they said it was about the Iran nuclear deal. Then they said it was about the U.S. Air Force training Ukrainians on drone warfare in the Donbass. The story changes every single day.
And who's changing the story? This guy, Brian Auten. He was discredited over Carter Page spy warrants, but he's still handling sensitive cases. In congressional testimony this month, Wray confirmed that a number of former Crossfire Hurricane team members are still employed by the Bureau while undergoing disciplinary review. Those are the guys you picked to investigate the fucking president? The guys who have the shadiest past and who are being currently investigated by two different investigations themselves. Those are the guys you handpicked to investigate Trump. I guess why. Why do you think those are the guys investigating Trump? Because they're the biggest criminals inside the FBI and they're willing to do the most unethical criminal shit to get Donald Trump. That's why. In the meantime, Wray has walled off the former Russiagate investigators only from participating in FISA wiretap applications, according to the sources. Some former FBI officials worry that Auten, a top bureau expert on Russia and nuclear warfare, will have a hand in analyzing the boxes of documents that agents seized from Trump's home on August 8th to help determine if any of the alleged top secret material he kept there might have been compromised, potentially putting national security. So this guy's going to be the guy deciding whether Trump's a criminal or not. This is the guy. An examination of the Bureau agents involved in the Mar-A-Lago raid reveal other connections between them and FBI officials who played key roles in advancing the Russiagate hoax. Sources told Real Clear Investigations that Jay Pratt, the top counterintelligence official in Justice's National Security Division, who happens to be a Democratic National Committee donor, he has also been coordinating the Mar-a-Lago investigation with Alan Kohler, who heads the FBI counterintelligence. So this is unbelievable. Bratt, the top counterintelligence official at Justice, traveled to Mar-a-Lago in early June and personally inspected the storage facility while interacting with both Trump and one of his lawyers. Trump allowed 3 FBI agents Pratt brought with him to open boxes in the storage room and to look through them. So Trump seemed to be cooperating 100% with this investigation. They brought the FBI guys to where he stored the stuff, and he said, "Go ahead, take a look." So why didn't they do that again? Because it looks worse for Trump if you do a raid. That's why.
Mhm.
And who's this guy? There he is. This is the probe coordinator. He traveled to Mar-a-Lago and met with Trump in June, and then things got dicey. So they left with some documents. After leaving, Bratt made a request to Trump's lawyer for increased security at the facility and asked to see surveillance footage from the security cameras. The lawyer complied with the requests. Months went by before the Justice Department took the politically explosive step of sending FBI agents unannounced to Trump's home, seizing documents, photos, and other items, not just from the storage facility, but from multiple rooms on the property, including the former president's office. Former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker said the search warrant that agents obtained is quite wide-ranging. He pointed out that it authorizes the seizure of any information in any form related to national defense information, which he said does not necessarily include classified material. What? You're raiding a president's house for shit that's not even classified? This is a huge, broad search warrant and a huge, broad investigation leveled against the former president, Swecker said. Although Attorney General Merrick Garland said he said that the Department of Justice seeks to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken, details of the warrant reveal agents had the authority to seize entire boxes of records, including those potentially covered by attorney-client privilege and executive privilege, if just a single document inside the container were marked with a classified marking. All told, dozens of boxes and containers were removed from Trump's residence, very few of which actually contain classified information. According to Federal Elections Commission reports, Bratt has given exclusively to Democrats, including $800 to the DNC. Who gives fucking money to the DNC? What kind of political operator gives money to a fucking DNC? That's exactly who he is, a political operator. The sources said he is close to David Loffman, whom he replaced at the top counterintelligence official at Justice Department. An Obama donor, Loffman helped oversee the Russiagate probe, as well as Clinton's email case, which also involved classified information. Former federal prosecutor and Trump administration official Kash Patel said the FBI may have a personal interest and a potential conflict in seizing the records stored by Trump. He noted that Trump in October 2020 authorized the declassification of all the investigative records generated by the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane, as well as the Clinton email investigation, codenamed Mid-Year Exam. And he said that the FBI may have confiscated some of those records in its raid, ensuring they won't be made public.
So this is about job security, not national security.
This is about FBI's job security. That's exactly right, because those documents would probably reveal the FBI's malfeasance and criminality and unethical behavior and lying around Trump's investigation, which they did.
And he ordered these, like they just said, to be declassified in October 2020. A year passed, they still hadn't done it. It's like we all know what they're going after. It's as clear as day.
In addition, he said the agency may be digging for other documents to try to justify retroactively their questionable politically tinged 2016 opening of the Trump-Russia collusion case, which came up embarrassingly short of evidence. Of course, this is to cover up their bad investigation. Patel noted that Horowitz report indicated, so they already did it. So they had, Horowitz did a report. He was the Inspector General, I think, was his title. And they already did a report, which is when he recommended those FBI guys for discipline for lying. And he's already indicated that the FBI analyst Auten hid exculpatory information about Trump advisor Page from other investigators and from the FISA court, which should be more than enough to keep him at arm's length from another investigation involving Trump, but it didn't. And to top it off, this guy admits he's unrepentant about his role in making up the biggest hoax in election history, and the head of the FBI still lets him be a supervisor at the FBI. It's just insane. Former FBI counterintelligence officer and lawyer Mark Walk said he's troubled by signs that the same cast of characters from the Russiagate scandal appears to be involved in the Mar-A-Lago investigation. If these people who were part of a major hoax that involved criminal activity and displays of bias and seriously flawed judgment are still involved, then that's a major scandal. So the scandal is the FBI's raid on Trump, not Trump. Again, the scandal was Russiagate investigation, not Trump's collusion with Russia. And the scandal is the FBI probe and raid of Trump's house, not Trump hiding any documents. It's the FBI that are the criminals here once again. And that's why we should defund the FBI. But I don't think you're going to get the Democrats to go on board with that, especially Nina Turner.
Jimmy, you sound like a racist, anti-woman, proto-fascist.
Proto-fascist. Yeah.
Defunding the FBI. What are you doing?
So exactly what we said when this story broke was that this was them doing the FBI and the establishment doing nefarious, illegal, unethical stuff to try to make sure Donald Trump can't run in 2024, because if he does, he'll beat every Republican and he'll certainly beat demented Joe Biden. And they can't take that chance. And that's exactly what this is turning out to be. Go ahead, Jackson. You have the last word on this.
Seems like Rachel Maddow got out of her MSNBC contract just in time.
Just in time. Hey, we're coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Detroit, Los Angeles, Spokane, Tacoma, Denver. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all our tickets for all our live shows. See you there.